Hey, Garage here, and I've got with me the NEXPOW YH2200i inverter generator. I've been watching this generator on Amazon for a while now. It's got overwhelmingly good reviews. The value is insane. I haven't seen a generator in this price point with this many features, period. We're talking 300 clams. That's what I bought this for. Bought it with my own cash. Goes up as high as like 350, 360-ish, but I keep seeing coupons. This thing's been going for 300. Since the built hard was a little bit disappointing, overall great value. The last generator I reviewed, a little bit disappointing because it really didn't meet its specification of 2,000 watts. It was more in the output rating of this guy, around 1,800 watts. I'm like, you know what? I can't crown that thing the budget king. Let's look for something else. This one looks like it might fit the bill for a number of reasons if it meets its specification. I'm hoping it hits that 1,800 watts. We're going to test that. But there's a few other things that really kind of blew my mind on this. For this price point, we've got all sealed buttons. So if it rains or it gets wet, these things aren't going to get water up into the electronics. That's good. You're not going to get dust and dirt or anything else up in there either. It's got CO2 detect on there, so it's not going to choke you out and try to kill you. It's going to shut itself down if it detects CO2 in the immediate area. And so that is a good feature. Some people disable that. I know it can be annoying, but it is there for your safety. I like that it has that. It also has a digital display on it. That is so important. The hour meter on this generator is built in. I usually have to buy a separate hour meter or recommend a separate hour meter for these small generators because they just don't have them built in. This one has it built in. It also displays its voltage, its frequency, so you can see how things are running, and it gives you a real-time run count. So basically, if I start this up right now and I run it, and it's been, say, running for 5 minutes, it'll show you it's been running for 5 minutes. So it shows you the current run time on the meter. That's a really cool thing. I'm excited to check this thing out, so let's dive into it. We're going to jump right into a walk around, show you guys what the overall features of this little generator are, and then we're going to get on to our testing. Let's do it. All right, so you know Garage does not do unboxing videos, so there's the box, and boom, that's what came with it. That's it. You get a funnel, which I don't recommend that funnel. Use that for something else. Check the video description for the funnel I do recommend that makes oil changes super easy on these little tiny generators. We have a basic toolkit, a Phillips screwdriver, a spark plug wrench, and you have your instruction manual. That's it, guys. That's all that comes with this generator. Does not come with oil. Check the video description also for break-in oil that I recommend and oil I generally recommend to run in these small generators. Let's do our walk around of this generator and its features. So we have a cover to access your spark plug right there. Let's take a look at the specifications. It's got all the details of the generator right here. We have a nice side cover, 2 Phillips screws, and then you can take it off. It's got these little tabs that go into O-rings, and it actually was really nice to take off. Some of these can be a real pain in the butt to take off. I'm not going to go through in depth on what I'm seeing on internals right now because we're going to do our teardown here in just a little bit, but everything looks nice and tidy at face value, just kind of eyeballing it. Front panel. You'll notice oil all over this thing. It actually had a ton of oil in the bag. There was oil all over the bottom of this generator, so I think when they packed it at the factory, somebody didn't drain it right, or they spilled a bunch of oil and they just didn't clean it up. I did notice that. It was interesting because I'm still cleaning up oil. We have our eco switch, so basically a throttle down switch on this to save on fuel. That's nice to have. This resets your inverter. We have some LED indicators here. We've got a low oil light. We got some overload lights. We have our CO2 detect light. There is our little hour meter and voltage output. We have some USB. We got a Type A and Type C USB connections. Parallel connection, so we can make 2 of these generators together to double the output. 20 amp plugs, which is very nice to see. All sealed under weatherproof caps. Very, very nice. Still can't believe they do that at this price point. Vented fuel cap. Again, I wish more generators had this. This is a very smart idea. You can turn off the venting so that no fumes come out in the car if you happen to be transporting this in the back of an SUV or something. I don't recommend that, but if you are, you can kill the fumes that way. Here's our other side of our panel. Whole lot of details here. looks like 0.35, is that 0.35 liters of oil. Tells you how to start it. Qualified certificate. That gives me all the confidence in the world. Some danger, this will kill you stickers. Typical screen spark arrestor. I like to see that. Not going to clog up as easy. And that is really it for our general walk around. It's a very compact, very good looking old generator. And I got to say, fit and finish on this, at least on the outside, looks really, really nice. So, all right, let's get on to filling this with oil. Before we do our first start, we're definitely going to install a magnetic dipstick. Now that's about the stumpiest little dipstick I've seen. So this is going to be this size magnetic dipstick. Let me get the metal that's already stuck on there off. We got a couple different sizes. The right one for this generator will be in the video description. So we have that now. Always run a magnetic dipstick on these from the very first day because it's just going to help these generators last longer. Gets all the little steel or shavings out from the bearings and other things that are inside these little motors. All right, so for oil, it's 0.35 liters, which is almost 12 ounces. I don't have an exact little measurement, like my little jar, my oil-filled jar that I had before in previous videos. So I'm going to use one of these. I love these. Check the video description for these. Big syringe. I got some T4 Rotella here. We're just going to suck up the oil in this guy. A little bit of a mess, but compared to doing it in a little tiny bottle. But makes adding oil, small engines, really easy. So all we're going to do, guess I got to put it down in there a little further. We're going to add oil until it's basically coming right up towards the top. Take our magnetic dipstick. We are right up to level. Whoop. Yeah, right there. Nice big surface here for the O-ring to seal against. Going to make sure our vent cap, not sure if you can see that, but we turned our vent cap to the on position, which means it's venting. That'll be plenty of fuel. Actually, over on the side, I'm going to put this to choke. Let the fuel get in there. We're going to make sure eco mode is turned off. And let's see what we get. Smooth running little generator. You can see the display. 124 volts, 59.99 frequency. That's our current run time and our hour meter. Not the most elegant teardown. As you can see, this side panel is still on. So somebody sent this little 8mm home into the insert with too many ugga-duggas, and it is seized rock solid down in there. Plastic shavings and stuff all over. Trying to get that sucker out. It is not going anywhere unless I kind of ruin the case. Not willing to do that. Nice generator, but somebody screwed that up. So it is what it is. Pin this guy down. Nice little valve assembly. This Yahoo generator assembly and brand looks pretty well done. Not seeing anything that stands out or any red flags or anything. It looks great. Spark plugs out of it. It's an A5 RTC like most of these little guys run. Check the video description for the crossover. You can see that plug. Gasket came off super clean around the valves. So I was able to add grease to that gasket. You can see it right there. Added grease to it so that'll always come off and make it quite serviceable. When we're doing valve clearances at a couple hundred hours, about 300 hours usually where I recommend that to be done. Yinba carburetor. Very, very common carburetor for these little guys. You can actually see the motor part number there, YH14 or 148F, I'm sorry. Motor is completely suspended on very soft mounts, which is why it runs so smooth. So the inverter module, let me see if I can dim this camera down so you can see it. There we go. Is a 1.8 kilowatt inverter. And the YP, right up here where my thumb is, says YP. That's a Yuxin inverter. I think that's how you pronounce it, Yuxin. Pretty easy to find online. It's not a difficult to find inverter, so if you ever need to get parts or anything, that inverter is like a $60, $70 inverter. Super cheap. CO2 detect. Never had a generator quite like this. You saw in the hyperlapse video where I was tearing this thing down, this whole front panel just came right off. All these wires were not, there's plenty of length. It just came right down. But this is what's different. I've never seen this before. This front panel has no screws. You actually have to take off bolts in the back to get the electrical panel to come down. So they assembled that and they wanted to keep that all together if anybody had to service in here. So apparently that's probably really, really tight. And they did that for a reason. So I'm going to leave that where it is. We have our fuel selection switch, our little cutoff switch. All that actually bolted to that side panel, so I'd use a really long Phillips screwdriver. You can see, that's not it. Somewhere over there, really long Phillips, and to get all the way through there to take off 3 long screws that held that to the side panel to get this whole assembly out. Overall, very simplistic, well put together. This is that YP, that Yuxin brand again, made for the YH148F, which is this motor assembly. So it looks like this is made for this. Rather interesting. But I found these parts like all over the place online. The inverter, different pieces, so very, very common. Did not take much research at all to find anything I was looking for on this little guy, parts-wise. That's it, guys. Besides that failure to get that off, if this didn't give me a fit, this bolt, definitely one of the easiest generators to take down. Take the screws out of the back over the exhaust, the panel just comes off, no pop clip. Same with the front, just came off. A couple 8mm holding this handle together, the plastics together. Fuel tank slipped right out. Plastic fuel tank, you can see it just sitting down there. And yeah, super, super easy on this teardown. So now that I've got everything done here, I'm pleased with everything. We're going to put it back together. And we're going to let it run for that 1 hour break-in and then do our oil change at 1 hour. See how good or bad that turns out. First oil change on this NEXPOW. 1 hour of runtime exactly. Let's take a look how she did. I do my oil changes hot. So, and actually, let me get something to prop this up sideways. I always mention it. Hot things expand. I don't want hot oil pouring out all over the place. So we're going to tilt it back just a little bit to help keep it in there. Magnetic dipstick is going to be freaking hot. Oh, and it is. There we go. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Not the best, not the worst for the first hour. I would say it's a little bit more than I usually see. And that's okay. That's why we run a magnetic dipstick. You don't want those steel particles inside the motor. You can see some of the black there. You want to get this stuff out of there. This is the stuff in the material that will cause wear and tear on your motor. Small engine. And that's the stuff you don't want. Whew. It's a strong magnet on this little dipstick. It's kind of hard to clean off. So, all right, cool. Completely happy with that. Now let's take a look at what we got. Oil. These are the little funnels I was telling you guys about. Order these. Check my video description. Order a couple of these. They're perfect for these small generators and small engines. If you thread them in right. Come on. There we go. Up. I think this is my one that's a little bit of a problem child. It cross threads a little bit sometimes. Come on. There it is. Now with that, to do our oil change, all we're going to do, so you can get this on camera, I'm just going to tilt this thing up and pour the oil out. I'm at a terrible angle right now. You guys can't see the oil pouring, but the oil is super hot. It ran out really, really fast. I always do my oil changes hot because it's a lot lower viscosity in the oil and it runs out really fast, so any contaminants come out very quickly with it. So let's take a look at our oil. So much light in here in the shop right now, but from what I'm seeing, let's see if we can get a better angle. There we go. A little bit of stripper dust in there. We're doing our latte look. We're starting to separate a little bit. Overall, that's what I expect at 1 hour. I don't see anything worrisome with that oil. So we'll go ahead and fill it back up. And on to the next thing. All right, so let's knock out this load test. This is a resistive load. Got a scope set up here. Power factor under load is about 0.95. So let's go ahead and let's watch this waveform. Let's see how it does when loaded up. We're going to take it off eco. And we're just going to hammer it. This cover pushes really hard on this meter, so it can cause it to flip out, but the generator is pretty smooth. We got 1600 watts, waveform's good. 17. We just passed its rating, 1800. Waveform still looks excellent. Still not clipping. There we go, finally, 1866. I got a little bit of a blinking light that we're in overload, 1870, but the waveform looks excellent, no clipping. So this thing is basically at its max, and it's doing so elegantly. A little bit of noise, I imagine the distortion starting to creep up now. Give her just a little more. Just a little bit on the bottom of the waveform. Looks a little ugly, just barely. That's as far as I would want to take it. Voltage started to sag a little bit. We got down to 117. That thing passed with flying colors. That is an outstanding result for a generator in this an outstanding result for a generator in this power class. Can't ask for more than that. That is amazing. All right, so we're at the travel trailer and we are going to see if this thing can start the AC. It's a 13.5K Coleman Mach unit. And it's about 70 degrees out right now, 68 in the travel trailer. And let's see how this generator does. The numbers say it's going to start it easy, but you never really know. If it can't handle a good surge, it may not start up properly. So here we go. AC is on high. And it handled it. I got no overload light on that generator. Let's take a look at the sound output level. So this generator at idle is significantly louder than the built hard in the same power class that I just tested. Moving out to 50 feet didn't do anything really. I mean, we're still 4 dB louder. That is significantly louder. Once you get up to a 50% load, things start looking a little bit better. It's kind of matching up a little bit closer. When you go to 100% load out to 50 feet, it actually is quieter than the built hard. So it's better at full tilt than the built hard was, which was an extremely quiet generator. But at idle, this thing definitely is louder. So you're not going to have any wins there with sound. Wrapping this thing up with this little NEXPOW generator. What do you guys think? For me, amazing. This thing ran right past its rating. Ran clear up into like 1950 watt range, something like that from memory. Waveform looked great, just started to break up on the bottom side. Overload light was obviously on, but this thing was definitely running okay at that. I don't know if the inverter would eventually overheat at that, but it ran right past its rating, no problem whatsoever. The oil change looked decent on it. The internals are well built. I only had the one hiccup with the stuck bolt. What else can I ask for? This, I can safely say, is a new budget king. If you're looking for an affordable inverter generator, something in that 350 clam range or lower, it's a no-brainer. It started my travel trailer's AC just fine. Just a little flicker overload light, fired it right up. They didn't fluff the numbers on this generator. The numbers are all right in spec, what it should be, and actually it exceeded those numbers. It's got an hour meter built into it. I mean, what else can you ask for? It has all the things. It's lightweight, it's compact, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So yeah, Garage can highly, highly recommend this. If you guys need this, please share it to the masses. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff if this video helped you out, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.